They were scientists. What they did will shock you. Science is often celebrated as the pinnacle of human achievement. It has eradicated ancient diseases, decoded the human genome, and enabled us to walk on the dusty surface of the moon. Yet there is a darker side, carefully buried within the pages of history, that is rarely discussed in classrooms. Behind groundbreaking discoveries and Nobel Prizes lie dusty archives detailing real experiments conducted by real scientists who deliberately crossed ethical boundaries that should never have been violated. Today, we descend into the depths of human curiosity, where the pursuit of knowledge turned into pure cruelty. Prepare yourself for a disturbing journey through the darkest chapters of scientific research. Documented cases that prove one unsettling truth: when morality is removed from the equation, human beings are capable of unimaginable atrocities under the guise of academic progress. You might want to watch this with the lights on. If you're fascinated by the mysteries of the universe and the complexities of the human mind, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. It helps us continue producing deep, serious investigations into science and space. Let's begin our descent into the underbelly of scientific ethics. Our first case takes us back to 1971 into the basement corridors of Stanford University's psychology department. Psychologist Philip Zimbardo set out to understand the dynamics of power and submission within a prison environment. To do this, he recruited 24 college students. These young volunteers, all deemed psychologically healthy after rigorous screening, were randomly divided into two groups: guards and prisoners. The university basement was meticulously transformed into a simulated prison. What was supposed to be a 2-week experiment quickly spiraled out of control. Within days, the line between reality and simulation vanished. Students assigned as guards began displaying genuinely sadistic behavior, inflicting severe psychological punishment, sleep deprivation, and extreme humiliation on their peers. Absolute power corrupted them with alarming speed. Meanwhile, the students playing prisoners showed acute signs of emotional breakdown, deep anxiety, and depression. Zimbardo himself, absorbed in his role as prison superintendent, lost his ethical perspective. The experiment had to be abruptly terminated on the 6th day, leaving behind lasting psychological scars. The Stanford Prison Experiment became a chilling landmark, demonstrating how oppressive systems can transform ordinary individuals into perpetrators of cruelty. But as disturbing as this was, it was still just a psychological study. What happens when biology and medicine are corrupted by extreme military ideologies? To answer that, we must turn back the clock to World War II, specifically to northeastern China under Japanese occupation. There, the infamous Unit 731 operated, a covert biological and chemical research facility of the Imperial Japanese Army, led by General Shiro Ishii. Unit 731 was responsible for some of the most horrific war crimes ever recorded in the history of science. Disguised as a water purification center, scientists carried out lethal experiments on living human beings, most of them prisoners of war and innocent civilians. The atrocities committed within those walls defy comprehension. Prisoners were subjected to vivisections, live surgical procedures performed without any form of anesthesia to study the effects of disease and injury on the human body in real time. The justification? Anesthesia might distort the results. The unit also conducted brutal frostbite experiments. Prisoners' limbs were exposed to sub-zero temperatures until they froze solid, allowing researchers to test various thawing methods. Many victims lost limbs or died slow, agonizing deaths. General Ishii's ultimate goal was to develop biological weapons of mass destruction. Thousands were deliberately infected with diseases such as bubonic plague, cholera, and anthrax. Perhaps most disturbing of all, after the war, many of these scientists were granted immunity by the United States in exchange for their research data. This impunity reveals an uncomfortable truth: governments are often willing to overlook moral atrocities if the scientific knowledge gained is deemed strategically valuable. And that pursuit of strategic advantage leads us straight into the shadows of American intelligence during the Cold War. In the 1950s, the United States Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, launched a top-secret and highly illegal program known as Project MKUltra. Its primary objective: to develop mind control and interrogation techniques fueled by the fear that the Soviet Union had already achieved similar capabilities. Led by chemist Sidney Gottlieb, MKUltra spared no method and no subject. The program involved the covert administration of psychoactive substances, especially LSD, to American and Canadian citizens who had no idea they were being used as test test subjects in behavioral experiments. Psychiatric patients, prisoners, drug users, and even ordinary civilians became targets. The program employed extreme sensory deprivation, hypnosis, relentless verbal abuse, and other forms of psychological torture in an attempt to break the human mind and rebuild it according to intelligence objectives. One of the most tragic cases was that of Dr. Frank Olson, a government scientist who was unknowingly dosed with LSD. Days later, in a state of severe paranoia and induced psychosis, he allegedly jumped from a hotel window in New York, falling to his death. Project MKUltra lasted nearly 2 decades, destroying countless lives and minds, before it was finally exposed and shut down in the 1970s. The full scope of the program may never be known. In 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered the destruction of most of the project's files. While the Cold War may have justified MKUltra in the minds of some, how do we explain atrocities committed in times of peace under the authority of public health institutions? This brings us to the Tuskegee Syphilis Study, one of the longest and most shameful ethical violations in the history of Western medicine. In 1932, the United States Public Health Service began a clinical study in Tuskegee, Alabama. The goal was to observe the natural progression of untreated syphilis. 600 impoverished African American men were recruited, 399 of whom already had the disease. They were never told they had syphilis. Instead, government doctors told them they were being treated for bad blood, a vague term used at the time. They were given free meals and burial insurance, but actual medical treatment was deliberately withheld. The true tragedy deepened in 1947 when penicillin became the standard and highly effective treatment for syphilis. Rather than curing the patients, researchers actively withheld this life-saving antibiotic and even prevented the men from accessing treatment elsewhere. The study continued for 40 years. Until 1972, these men were left to suffer the devastating consequences of late-stage syphilis, blindness, insanity, and painful death. Their wives were infected. Their children were born with congenital syphilis, a cycle of suffering imposed and sustained by the state. Only after the study was exposed to the press was it finally shut down. Tuskegee shattered public trust in the medical system and led to the creation of strict regulations to protect human research subjects. It stands as a stark reminder: science, stripped of humanity, becomes a tool of institutional oppression. These historical cases are not mere anomalies, they are warnings. Scientific knowledge holds immeasurable power, the power to shape the future of our species. But the scientific method itself has no moral compass. Ethics must serve as the unwavering guardian of our relentless pursuit of answers. Today, we have ethics committees, strict guidelines, and frameworks like the Nuremberg Code to safeguard human rights in research. But vigilance must be constant. As we advance into fields like artificial intelligence, genetic editing, and biotechnology, the temptation to cross new and dangerous boundaries only grows stronger. The true greatness of science lies not only in what we can discover, but in the wisdom to know when to stop. We must honor the victims of these dark experiments by ensuring that the light of ethics is never extinguished in laboratories again. The responsibility of knowledge belongs to all of us. Thank you for joining this deep and necessary investigation. If this content gave you a new perspective on the history of science, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and share this video. I'll see you in the next episode, where we continue exploring the mysteries, the wonders, and the uncomfortable truths of our universe.